is what I've asked since January from all departments. You need to manage against the revenues, not the budgets. The budgets are easy. I understand that sometimes we can go over budget, that's understandable. We, the town board, have the facilities to go in and draw down out of the contingency bracket or budget. So we have extra funds, but I'm not going to set budgets up here that are just, it's easy to fund it. There's no accountability. There's no accountability if the budget's set that high. There's just no accountability. To me, your budget, if you did it right and they're not that difficult, you should be able to come in within 5 or 6%. Above, below, 5%. That's what I'm judged on at work. 5% of your budget, give or take. I expressed repeatedly that if you have a special project that's coming in and you weren't able to plan for it, let's say the Department of Health comes in and wants to check our records, so the bookkeeper needs some money, the town clerk needs some money, that's fine. Come back to the board and ask for it, and we'll gladly walk through the project with you and fund you. Pretty easy. I'm not going to just set budgets that are out of control. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Again, I've been asking since January, before that. Work with me, we'll build these budgets, work with me, we'll build business cases. If you need it, I can do this for you, let me work with you. So here's where we are. Go ahead, Gino, one more. Again, this is a key number. We probably go backwards, Gino, if you go back to, keep going. One more. Total cash and savings. That's it. That's what we got. That's our savings account. If we get a bad snowstorm, if something happens, another hurricane, Irene, whatever, that 78,000 will go like that. And then, once that number goes red, you have a tax. There's just no other way around it. You need the tax. Not going to do it. So that's why I've asked all these department heads to be very, very sharp with their pencils. This is what you need. Show me what you need. Demonstrate what you need, and we'll work with you. All departments, except 2, gave me feedback every week. Huge feedback, timesheets, journals, exactly what you do every single day. So I think that's really all I have on these. That's really what I want to highlight. Again, where we've been tracking, go ahead, Gino, if you just jump, back one more, sorry. Again, here's our, here's our charts. Go ahead, skip up. Personal services, again, just continue to climb. Eventually, it just makes sense. You're gonna have a tax. You need to live within your budget. Again, we understand that things happen, snowstorms, special projects from the government, mandates. We understand that. Come back to the board and, please, present your case, and we'll fund you. Just like any business or any government. If you have a special project, let us know. We'll fund you. But I'm not going to just say, here's carte blanche, spend as much as you want. No, I need to see what you're going to spend it on. That's my job. That's my job and the board's job as the financial overview of this town. We represent you. So go ahead. Let's get that one. Again, miscellaneous spending, we'll go down a little bit. Legal fees, we're trying to adjust that. Highways are highways. I'm not sure what the answer is on this. To work on highways and roads is just an expensive proposition. It's going to take some thought. Go ahead, one more. Benefits. Again, just climbing. And again, there's not much we can do about it, but we need to consider it, we need to prepare for it, we need to plan for it. It goes back to the budget. What's included in your budget? Each department, even though our budgets don't show it, to add it into the budget the way we read it, we have to get a software upgrade and have to add a couple lines in there. It's a pain in the neck. And I don't know if we can afford it, I don't know if it's worth it. But each department has, besides their spending and equipment and contractual, has health, has benefits, retirement. This is all included in what we're spending for the town. So as you can, again, see that we're just continuing to climb. It's our job as the board to monitor that very closely. Go ahead, Gino. Here it is. Revenues against expenditures. Continue to climb. And this number just keeps getting smaller, smaller, smaller until it cleared over there. Very bad trend, in my opinion. Again, you have a checkbook just like at home. You bring in $100, you spend $120 every week. You know, eventually you run out of, you get after tax, and you have to go to the tax. All right, go ahead, Gino. Again, our services is 54% of our budget. 54%. So some stuff again we're trying to control, but you know this is some big. That's where 54%, over half of our payroll or our budget is for personnel. Big number. So again, I asked for feedback since January, day one. Show me, show me, show me. Work with me, work with me, work with me. Some did, some didn't. All right. Can we shut that off for a minute? No, I'm sorry, not that. Just a slideshow. Yeah, you can do X. Can you open up? Down at Princetown. This is going to be a little hard to see. I don't know if you can size that, you know. So, oh, that's going to be a little hard to see. This report is from the New York State Controller's Office. Sent them an email, says give me a 5-year comparison, starting in 2006 through 2010 through 2010. On your budget, you can see the numbers for 2011. So again, the codes don't quite line up, but some of the stuff does matter, so you can see some of it. But if you scroll down a little bit, keep going. I should have highlighted a couple of these, couple of lines. Interesting. So you're going to see it, and we go through it and highlight the lines. That's good. Municipal court personal services. Since 1989, nothing's changed. Again, these are the numbers filed with the controller's office every year. Every year, each of the boards signs off on an audit. We've been audited. Each supervisor signs off every year. This is the budget. This is what was filed. So here's personal services. That included all the personal services for the court. In 2006, it was $47,000. 2010 was $91,000. Now, understand that probably $22,000 starting, I think it was like $6,000 in 2006, 7. It was only for court security was like $6,000, and then it was $22,000 here, 22. But still, even subtracting that, the number grew in the court professional services. So I'm kind of confused by the statement that since 1989, which is so far ago, that nothing's changed as far as wages. Another example, the clerk's office. Again, 2006, it's $30,000. 33, 40, 45, dropped off a little bit to 42. These two offices are carrying most of the spike in the personal services. We can go through and look at the other ones, and they're pretty much going to be the same. Here's supervisors. Again, this report will be online. It's already online. It'll be on the town website. Supervisor personal services. That includes the bookkeeper. 8,000, 8,000. You know, so it's 86 to 91. Drops to 73, back to 75. Pretty much stays flat. And that's going to go for every one of the other departments.
And as far as the amount of services delivered by those 3 departments that you just talked about, and the revenue generated by those 3 departments, how do they compare?
All right. Can we close this spreadsheet? And open. Town clerk office metrics. And if we resize that.
Do you have one for the court too, Mike?
No.
How about I go get it?
And are these are on a controller's report?
No, these were filed by Carol. And I have the paper copies in my folder there. These numbers are in the audit you sign off every year. Every year in January, you sign off the previous year. This shows you that list, exactly what it is. Again, I can show them to you, I got them with me. So again, so for the audience, although I understand and respect it, there's got to be a way to count what everybody does in life. Right? You work 8 hours a day, you do this, you do that. There's got to be some kind of a metric to count what you're doing.
I mean, I'm not sure where you're going to answer my question here.
Oh, if I can finish, I'll show you.
I mean, I'm just looking, you made a comment that those two departments, the clerk and the court, represent half our personnel costs.
No, I didn't say that.
Or close to half?
Nope, didn't say that either.
Well, what did you say?
I said,
I can play back the tape if we need to.
okay.
What did you say?
I said those two offices had the most drastic rise compared to the other offices.
No, you said that they covered about half of our payroll costs.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to know, and then you compared it to the supervisor's office. So I guess I want to know if you're saying that they equate to half of our personnel costs, I want to know what percentage of the services that we deliver to our residents do those two departments, and what percentage of our revenues do they account for, and understand is there a proportion?
So let me be, and I know you missed the state of the town.
I'll give you this, Mike, maybe you want to read out what the revenues were. If you think that they've declined.
So I'm not, so we're talking apples and oranges here. So the chart that showed the 54% between benefits and personal services was all personal services and all benefits for all personnel in town. What the other spreadsheet showed was the two offices that had the most drastic rise in the last 5 or 7 years was the court and the town clerk's office. Everybody else remained basically flat. That's the assessors, the bookkeeper, water, buildings and grounds. They basically remained flat. So that's what that was. All right, so 54% of our total budget is personal services and the benefits to support those services. That includes everybody. So your question was, what does these departments provide? So, Hamish, well, I'll shift them back. So again, this is a breakdown of the town clerk's office. Now again, I understand there's other work that goes on. I do understand that, but there has to be something to start measuring against. So I don't know if you can slide it up, you know, there's a couple more lines on the bottom there. We're going to have to, yeah. So these are, and again, we have this month's report. Carol's office puts out a report every month, and at the end of the year it gets totaled up, and all the boards since obviously 2005 or so sign off on these reports every year, every January. It's like January 5th or something. So again, it's the number of death certificates, number of marriage certificates, number of dog licenses, number of foils, number of this, number of that, etc. So what we did, we took all the numbers, and if you scroll down a little bit so you can see the header. Oh, no, the other way, Gino. Sorry. Starting in 2005, what we did was we took a 7-year total and did a 7-year average. So this is the number of averages per region, we'll say. How many dog licenses, how many marriage licenses, etc. Then we did a comparison between 2011 and 2007, and I'll explain that why, and then did a comparison between 2011 and 2006. Now the reason I'm comparing those two numbers is, if you can scroll up a little bit, this is when the spike starts. In 2006, we went from 5,000 to 10,000. 5,000 to 10,000 again. We spent 2,800, we spent 11,000. But when you did the comparison of the numbers, they're actually doing less work. This is what the red number is. The red number is a delta, it's a negative number. So this year they did 122 less photocopies. This year they did 14 less dog licenses. But here's the wages. again, I'm not trying to, isolate anybody here, but at some point you guys say, hey, look, you know what, it's just not adding up. I don't understand it. So one other thing, the question was, how much money does the office bring in? So these clerk office revenues, so these are the revenues that are brought in for doing all these dog licenses, et cetera. A pretty respectable number. Two items are jumped up. This year, the clerk's office declared $13,000, but that was actually the delta here, which is what, $5,000 or so, it was interest on tax collection. But it's never captured again. This year, where they did $31,000 or something, again, it was out of water district users. Huge number because they're out of district, you charge at a different rate. So it's a great money source for the town, but it's a little bit misleading that it's being captured in the town clerk's budget or as a revenue stream. Now, what the town clerk's also going to say is like, and I'm not trying to pick on them, I'm just saying these are the numbers. These are the facts. The town clerk's office as the tax collector brings in 1.2 million, 1.3 million, I don't have a number in front of me, I got it over there. Overall, probably it may be an impressive number, but in government speak, $1 million is like a tip. It really is, it's nothing. It's not that lot. Again, I'm being respectful to the clerk's office, I know they do a great job. But what's interesting is the number of parcels in town in 2005, it was 1,141. In the 7 or 8 years, it went up to 1,187, a delta of 46 parcels. Why is that critical to understand? Because that's the number of checks that come in, right? That's how we collect our checks. So we went from here to an extra 46 in 10 years. Again, hard to justify why we're collecting, again, it might be $1 million here, it might be $1.5 million here. That's just because the tax rate increased. But that doesn't mean the number of transactions to get that money increased. It did. It went up by, less than 1% in 8 years. The town is not exploding in growth. So again, what's interesting is you need to compare how much money we're paying the town office against the growth of the town and against the widgets. I understand again that it's an important position. Carol does a great job as the public relations. Ronnie, I can't speak highly enough about Ronnie. She's got a great skill set. She's very professional. I have anything bad to say about it. But there comes a point where do you pay 2 people to do probably a 1-person job? That's all I'm saying.
I think you've taken a lot of liberty with the numbers and discounted.
These numbers are in the...
Well, you just discounted $1 million. I think that, but you talk about photocopies. I put waiting on the number of photocopies variance, but you throw out the fact that the revenues have increased so dramatically.
What revenues?
It seems like,
I guess we asked what revenues.
And if you follow your logic, then every department, you should, again, and I think the one thing that I've asked for in this budget process pretty consistently was that whatever management and fiscal principles that were utilized to come up with this budget were conducted uniformly throughout every department. So if you follow your logic here that you're trying to convince us with, then every department should have the same amount of cuts. Because you can, if the number of parcels increase, and all of that should apply to the assessor's office too. And
the assessor's office didn't spike that way, that much in personal services. It's on the 5-year comparison. You have a copy of it.
I understand that, but then we should be making cuts there.
We're not making cuts.
That's what I'm saying. We are making cuts in the clerk's office.
Maybe the growth here was unjustified. That's the point.
But you've not proven that.
These are delta. These are negative numbers.
But that doesn't substantiate that with the number of the other numbers is unjustified.
You know what? And I'll get to the budget here, and we'll talk about the budget.
Yes.
All I'm saying is, if you can't apply one set of rules that are driven by parcels and taxes to one department, and then ignore the same logic at another department that is 100% driven by parcels and taxes, and make cuts in a discriminatory way to one
It's not
department
discriminatory.
and not apply the same scrutiny and logic to another department.
Well, we're not making discriminatory cuts.
This whole budget process has been prejudicial and biased from the very beginning. There hasn't been one thing that has been handled in a uniform way, which is the only thing that I've asked for from the day we started the budget process. So I'm assuming you have this same report for the assessor's office, so you're gonna put that up next?
I have the timesheets and.
I don't wanna hear time sheets, you should have this same report. I'm assuming you did the same scrutiny of every department. Because I've been asking for that since we started this budget process. So I'm assuming you're gonna put up the metrics, the 5-year metrics for the assessor's department next.
No, I don't.
Gino, can you put that up for me, please? So what you're saying is you didn't use the same process for every department, is that what you're saying?
Again, let me go back and put up the
It's a
5
yes or no question.
Yeah,
You
it
used the
is.
same process.
Yes,
Okay, so then I would like to see the same report for the assessor's office.
they don't make the widgets.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Yeah,
You just said you used the same process.
right.
So there's no
So-
transactions that happen in the assessor's office.
So the focus of this board should be to drive costs
There's
down.
no transactions in the assessor's office.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, so then we should be able to use the metrics. So I'm assuming you have that. So the answer to the question, I'll ask it again, did you use the same process for all of the departments that you're showing me here?
I'm gonna say I focus on the high runners where the,
So the answer is no.
we can
It's a
consider
yes or
that.
no question.
I
Because
understand
if you
the
did, you
question.
should be able to show me the same report for every department.
Mhm.
If you can't show me the same report for every department, then I think it's a fair statement that you did not use the same process for every department.
So, parcels, exactly the same. 46 degrees more.
Following your logic, so then we should be looking at the assessor's office then. And then we should be making similar,
This is the.
we
this
should
is
be
the
doing a
session.
similar
This
report
is- this
for
is
the
it, Todd.
assessor's office, and we should be looking for cuts
So
in the
Todd, I
assessor's
understand
office.
it's gonna be a